Aloha Kauai. Here's our daily COVID-19 briefing from Team Kauai for Thursday, March 26. There have been a cumulative total of 5 confirmed cases of COVID-19 here on Kauai, with no new cases overnight. The 2 original positive cases who were visitors have fully recovered and left the island to return home to the mainland. Currently, we continue to have 1 female resident who remains at home in isolation, and we have 2 adult visitors who remain in isolation. As of today, we will no longer be reporting the daily statewide total of positive cases, as those numbers are very fluid. Instead, we will refer you to the statewide COVID-19 website for updates at hawaiicovid19.com. Please note that the daily count on this site is updated at noon every day. Today is the first day of Governor Ige's mandatory 14-day quarantine for anyone coming to our islands from out of state from now until May 20th. Also, the stay-home order and nightly curfew remain in effect through the end of April. While our hope is that people willingly stay home to help protect the health and safety of our collective community, unfortunately, some bad apples will always ruin the bunch, and enforcement is necessary. Remember, this is for our kupuna and for those that are most vulnerable. So I'd like to introduce Kauai Police Chief Todd Raybuck here to discuss enforcement efforts.
Mahalo, Mayor. On Wednesday, our patrol officers conducted visual compliance checks across the island based on observations and complaints. And as of 11 a.m. today, we began facilitating checkpoints at various island-wide locations. Our enforcement efforts are in support of the governor's statewide stay-at-home order, 14-day mandatory quarantine, and the mayor's emergency rules number 2 and number 5, relating to nightly curfews and local guidelines to the stay-at-home order. It is imperative that our community comply with these orders. We are a small community that could be impacted by this pandemic in a huge way. We know our small island's healthcare system cannot handle a rapid spread of this disease, so we must all do our part to prevent that from happening. Most people only need to be asked. So thank you to everyone that continues to abide by the stay-at-home and quarantine orders. For some others, they will need a written reminder. So let this serve as my notice to those found in violation of these orders. You could be fined up to $5,000 or serve a misdemeanor sentence of up to 1 year in jail or both. KPD does not wish to add to this crisis by writing citations or taking people to jail. So please voluntarily comply and take these rules seriously for the well-being of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you to our Kauai police officers and all of our first responders out there on the front line, working around the clock to help protect our community. I also want to say mahalo to Pastor Galiza, David Iwai, and the team at Aloha Church for your generous donation of N95 masks and other protective gear to our first responders. I'd like to give a quick shout out to all of our essential workers out there who continue to show up in service for our community. I especially want to thank our solid waste workers. While most of our county's customer service operations have been temporarily closed, our transfer stations have seen an increase in visits from the public. I thank all of our solid waste employees for your dedication to helping our residents properly manage their refuse during our stay-at-home order. And for those who need to visit our transfer stations, mahalo for your patience while we work to serve you. And please continue to follow CDC guidelines relating to social distancing, cleanliness, and sanitation. Again, folks, we have the following orders and rules now in effect. A nightly curfew from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. for any resident or visitor on the island of Kauai. A statewide stay-at-home order per the governor supported by the mayor's emergency rule number 5, which establishes local rules to the governor's orders, and a mandatory 14-day quarantine for all out-of-state visitors who arrive in Hawaii. In an effort to be transparent, I'd also like you to know that we have asked Governor Ige to expand the scope of the mandatory quarantine to inter-island travel with the exception of first responders, emergency personnel, and those traveling for medical needs. If there is any update from the governor on that issue, we will update you here. You can view all of the emergency rules on our Kauai Emergency Management Agency, KEMA website at www.kauai.gov/COVID-19. Finally, today, I'm sorry to say that we are seeing an increase in scams in Hawaii. Please be alert. We have received reports that residents are being offered free COVID-19 home test kits in exchange for receiving a person's social security number. These offers of home test kits are fake. If you feel you need a COVID-19 test, please call your healthcare provider. As we discussed the other day, we know there are a small group of people out there who will exploit this crisis for their own personal gain. Please be vigilant. Never click on a link from an unknown sender, and never give your personal or financial information to an unknown caller. Please help us to share this information with your family members who may not have internet access or do not follow the news. According to Johns Hopkins, the United States has now surpassed China in the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the world. Kauai has a unique opportunity to beat this virus, but we must act now, each and every one of us. So again, stay home as much as possible. Refrain from social gatherings or public outings. If you must interact with people outside of your home, keep a distance of 6 feet of separation. Do not leave home if you are sick unless you are seeking medical attention. Wash your hands frequently and clean surfaces often. Stay connected with us and each other on the official county Facebook page or on our KEMA page at www.kauai.gov/COVID-19. The Center for Disease Control is also updating its website regularly with detailed guidance related to COVID-19. For more information, please visit coronavirus.gov. We can do this, Kauai. Let's take care of one another. God bless and aloha.